So welcome all. So this is the June 2nd to June 7th Sungate Transit video. This is all this month until the last 7 or 8 days of the month. The sun is going to be in Gemini gates, and then it's going to go into Cancer and conjunct Cancer and Jupiter as it goes in the next couple of days. And I plan to do a video tomorrow with Dorje for our Marduk's musing on Jupiter into Cancer. We'll see. If not, I'll do it on my own. And then I'm calling this Boredom Overcome, which is kind of not very good title, but I can't think of anything else right now. Probably after I do the video, but I don't want to I don't want to reconfigure the image. So gate 35 is right here. You guys can see on this image. It's all the Gemini gates are usually around the throat and about speech and speaking and manifesting as we manifest through the throat center. And so this chart here for today, I think it is June 2nd today, is a chart that has three activations. So a lot of energy today. The 515, meaning spending time in nature, being in the flow, doing some ritual practice for the day, some healing practice, and the 59-6, creating on multiple levels of being, your choice. That's the channel of reproduction there, the 59-6, and intimacy and conflict as well. And those are Virgo gates. And we have the 35-36 active again. We've had this active for the last couple years because Neptune was there, but now Neptune's in the 25. It's no longer in the 36. And so for today, the North Node has been, actually North Node for a couple months has been there. And what is in the 35? Not Pluto. Why am I not seeing? Oh, Mercury. Yeah, Mercury is there. And some of the other planets, as all the personal planets go through the Gemini gates this month, they will also drop in to gate 35. So this will be activated again. And so a lot of action, a lot of energy this week. This particular gate is all about adventure. I dropped my car off today and I was thinking, oh, I want an adventure. So I took my bike so that I could ride my bike home or to wherever. And then I realized it was going to be almost 90 degrees today. And I said, yeah, I got to scratch that plan. That's not going to work for someone, Avada Pitta, who has a lot of fire. So yeah, it's too hot, too much dry heat. So I decided not to. Adventure canceled. But there could be others. So what it is that the 35 is a particular gate, and this is coded in our DNA as something that we can manage ourselves. This particular gate does rule the thyroid and parathyroid, so there is a lot of pressure on it to manifest in the world. And these throat center gates tend to have a lot of pressure built in because of this pressure to manifest. Now, in this particular gate, there's a refraction through the DNA. In the early I Chings, this was called easy progress, which means this is the impetus. This gives humans the impetus to progress, to evolutionarily wise, really create processes that push us forward into our experience in the world. In its most mundane expression, it's almost an impulsive energy that comes from either impatience or boredom and can thus manifest as a kind of manicness or the opposite, the polarity of kind of manic or depressive energy. But depressive more so expressed just through states of boredom. And when someone is bored, it's not it's not because of anything around them that's not fun for them to do, that's not initiating them into some kind of adventure or entertainment, but rather it's because they're not able to fix on a way of beingness. Boredom expresses a kind of disconnection. And so then energy can move in such a way that it's happening as a way to get away from something. And that is the problem that kind of develops the shadow kind of aspect of this particular gate frequency, is that it's this unrest we feel in our body. And I do attach it in a way to the nervous system, like a form of dysregulation almost, where or or an impatience, or just a fretting, or the body's not calm, the nervous system is not calm, and something has to be done. And in order to either, calm the energy or push out energy, and this is like a cycle that all of us have in our lives, because cycles, in a sense, represent the process of what it is to be human. Like there's no kind of set being that we have. We are not really um able to, unless we, develop it and harness it over time, we don't really have lives where we're just in one state all the time. We actually shift from states of fullness to emptiness, to satiation, to um, emptiness. I mean, it's all in movement all the time. And so where we face struggle and frustration or tension in our bodies is with this constant movement and constant cycle shift. And trying to control it or satisfy it is where like most of the problems lie. And in controlling it, we create rules in order to control ourselves and our own impulses. And in expressing it, we also do the same in reverse. We create habits and cycles that are for the good or for not. So ultimately, the solution for the energy in this gate is to allow yourself to overcome. And this is not, this is not all the time, this is for when it feels correct, to allow yourself to break through any imposed limits of the self. This is a great couple days to really adventure. And when I say adventure, I don't mean it like in the sense that we all think, like taking a plane to a jungle and then dropping yourself off and without anything and trying to live for a week. Like those crazy shows, like the show, but rather just being open to new ways of doing things in your life. Like if you like my whole kind of suggestion today, instead of getting a ride back home from the mechanic, I was like, I'll just bike 7 miles. But then I realized, that might not be the correct adventure, as it's over 90 degrees and I don't do well in the heat. So that wasn't the one. But there could be others that come up. So what I'm getting at is there is an inner rhythm. There is an inner rhythm in our being. And it does move, but it's more subtle. It's not as extreme as the way we're kind of jogged about by the repetitious cycles of the moon, the lunar cycles, which really are the ones that kind of seem to control our emotional body, providing us the impetus to bring energy to a climactic full ending on full moons and to new beginnings on new moons. Essentially, the water in our body seems to be controlled by that, but there is rhythms within rhythms, wheels within wheels inside of us. And so we're looking at finding that more central rhythm that has gravity within us, that's not so overstimulated and not so seeking to overstimulate. And so one way to express this is to create our own adventure, as I was saying. And I was saying this recently on the show I did with Richard and Gary, which is the Lightning Thrice. I was talking about this kind of create your own adventure month, whereas it's an opportunity to really venture in doing things in new and creative ways. Because the truth is you're probably not going to be able to get that much progress. It'll be more limited next month when Mercury goes retrograde and Uranus goes in the Gemini, but this month we still have a lot of space to create, even though it'll probably be frustrated with both the squares from Jupiter to Saturn and Neptune. To Neptune, it'll be more expansive. When it hits Saturn, it'll be more contractive. So we're dealing with steps forward and steps back. Ultimately, the code of this energy is to, enjoy the edge. We always need fear because it creates the edge of our experience, of our adventures. But we want to just also be aware of not creating too many self-imposed limitations, needing to define everything. It's really important, but sometimes, it's difficult too, because we may not be in the space for that. It may be too hot and our mind might be melting. This is the case with me. One kind of level of expression of the 35 is impulsive giving and sharing with others, when it feels right. There's something about giving to others, and these days we're just cautious on everything. Like people don't even, people are cautious of, I mean, I've made this argument many times where nothing is free in this reality, but it's a very dark kind of concept because people do want to give freely out of love, out of care, out of authenticity, because it does feed them back. To give something to someone actually increases serotonin. It actually nurtures us. But there is also energy that's like, well, nothing's free. Everything comes with attachments, everything comes with expectations. So, we're in this constant kind of cycle of assessing what's authentic and what's not. What can we trust in and what can we not trust in? And then in this case, it's the 35, which is initially bored, initially manic, and wants to do something, wants to step into the excitement of the emotional wave of gate 36 and create a mutation. It wants to adventure. It wants to create a feeling and a state of boundlessness. And this is really important. This is a really important and powerful gate. And this is a rhythm that can be externalized in the way we treat others and connect with others, and the way we come back to ourselves and connect with ourselves, and the way we treat ourselves. And I think the biggest reminder here is to perhaps look at it from the perspective that we're in a sense wandering children, and we will always be. The essence of being a child is something we never truly leave and from adulthood. We never leave that. We're always, it's still always within our grasp to be that, to recall that sense of wonder that it is for a child. And in reflection to treat ourselves as children, to treat our inner self, our inner child as what it is, a child. And so I think that's all I have for you guys. I'm going to be doing a video later today on the month, kind of going through the gates of the month and just giving updates. And then I'll also do my Hades moon update on what days might be particularly explosive. And thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing if you choose, and have a great rest of your week.